a 28-year career with DEA. I've been supporting law enforcement agencies all over the country, and I also support the grieving families that are burying their loved ones on a daily basis. I believe the safety and security of America must be a top priority. And the current border policies are placing every American at risk. The Mexican cartels are taking over and taking advantage of the vulnerabilities at the border, but they're working with the Chinese transnational criminals at levels we've never seen in the country. They're operating with no fear. The brave men and women in CBP are doing tremendous work, but they're distracted every day because they're dealing with a tsunami of migrants coming in from over 150 countries. How can any reasonable person in America think the current situation at the border, which is now impacting all of America, is safe and secure? Makes no sense. Look at the historic number of deaths, right? I deal with this every day, 9,161 dead Americans. Headline news today, 9 in Cleveland, Ohio, most ever in a 24-hour period, dead. Last month, another public service alert because there were 5 dead in a 12-hour period. This is what's happening. What about Ray Lewis, the legendary NFL player, lost his son? What about this famous actor, Robert De Niro's grandson, dead? And what about baby Elijah in Florida with the fentanyl that a mother mixed in the blender? Look at the escalating crime in the country. Look at the known gotaways, 1.5 million, that are all over the country. We don't even know who they are, where they are, what they're doing here. Look at the 143 migrants that have been apprehended this year at the border. Think about that. There was only 3 in 2020 during the last administration and in the last year. Think of how many terrorists and criminals are part of the gotaways. This is common sense. You don't have to be an expert to understand that. Look at the record number of migrant deaths from them making treacherous journeys to get here, baking in the desert, and in the back of tractor trailers. And this man is pulling them off the desert with the sheriffs and stuff on the ground. Look at the sexual assaults and the rapes and the migrants on the journey. Remember, depression, anxiety, and mental illness are on the rise, and all of our Americans are turning to drugs for help. And unfortunately, the cartels have tainted the illicit drug supply. Allowing Mexican cartel operatives and unidentified people from around the world to enter the country illegally at record levels is enhancing the ability of criminals to kill Americans. This is not what the government should be doing to keep us safe. You don't have to be a border expert, an immigration expert to understand that the administration's policies related to the border are a recipe for disaster. And I'm not a MAGA lunatic, okay? Look at the recent statement on China made by FBI Director Wray. Now let's think about it. He said how China is the most, biggest national security threat to our long term of this country. Based on that warning, let's look at the facts. Already this year, 14,655 Chinese nationals, many of them military-aged men, are being apprehended on the border. Let's look deeper. That's a 1,540% increase from last year and over a 10,700% increase from 21. So my question to everyone here, what are they coming here for, military-aged men from China? And how many are in those gotaways? Remember, the bombing campaign from China continues from the Chinese labs with the xylazine. This is a tranquilizer for horses. It's rotten people from the inside out, causing necrosis. Mike McCall, thank you, sir, because you made this statement. I'll never forget it. Selling fentanyl to America is a great foreign policy for China. He's right on point. And the man's been around Homeland Security issues a long time. Synthetic drugs made in labs in China and Mexico are record levels, game changer for the U.S. The Chinese criminals are providing critical money laundering services, which I can answer questions about. This is a disaster for America, and I'm concerned. It's not a red or a blue issue. It's a red, white, and blue issue, and every American should care. So, in my view, it's a chemical weapon destroying our country rapidly. One of the biggest obstacles for U.S. law enforcement is the corrupt, high-level government of Mexico corruption. We can't rely on soft-on crime and corrupt leaders in Mexico to save our kids. So as far as I know, there's never been a terrorist organization in the history of America that has killed this many Americans. The cartels must be dealt with accordingly and severely for what they're doing to our families and communities. Law enforcement's done tremendous work, and my hat goes off to all of them, saving lives every day. DEA last year, 58 million fake pills, 13,000 pounds of fentanyl, 400 million deadly dosage units taken off the street. Homeland Security investigations, CBP during Operation Blue Lotus, 8,200 pounds of fentanyl, 2 months at 2 POEs. The sad part everyone has to think about, how much is being produced and how much is already here. So DEA warns Sinaloa and Jalisco the biggest threats, drug threats we've ever seen. So folks, where's the Operation Warp Speed COVID-like thing for fentanyl? Last thing, without border security, we have no country. Thank you very much. And for the ranking member, sorry we're wasting your time.
I now recognize.
Hold on a minute. Why you reference me?
Because in your opening statement, you said that this was a charade, it was a waste of time, whatever words you used, and kids are dying at record levels, and I don't appreciate that.